So many times I still don't get it. You're going to have to explain it to me one day.
He's like a catalyst.
But there again,
Well,
Brian will come into the studio and say something somewhat similar, and I don't get that either. And I say,
that's
great, let's write something.
That's why he and I used to have dinner together every night.
Yeah, they would have dinner together, and I'd write the album. Oh, meow. But then Brian would talk about it. No, that's untrue. Brian brings a sense of aesthetic refinements to the recording process, which I'm not equipped to supply. Virtually, he can tell us what it's about when we finished it.
I've heard he like...
And not only that, he can tell us why we made it.
Does he get paid before or after?
Can we go back about 15 seconds now, maybe?
No.
No, I tell you what he's very good at doing. He's good at setting up situations within which you find you write and play in a very experimental fashion. And they're sets of parameters that one wouldn't normally think up oneself. And that's what makes it extremely interesting. It really is. It's very hard to actually define how and what Brian does, because it's a sense of providing certain kinds of atmospheres and ambiances. And I know that sounds very trite, but you'd have to be there to kind of, understand exactly how it works.
Well, back in the 70s, did you put your albums together like a collage, piece by piece, and maybe on the outside album was it more layered?
Yes, well, he'd come up with, for a simple kind of thing. So we'd put a click track down, and then he would count against it. So you'd have like a 5-minute piece, which just sounded like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm using Brian's accent. 5, 6, 7, and it'd go on like that for about 6 or 7 minutes. 3,047, 3,000, and then at the end of it, he'd say, "Okay, I'm going to play the chords E, C, and G only on the numbers that can be divided by 4." And he'd go ahead and do that. I'd be playing cards with the rest of the musicians in the other room, and then he'd come and say, "Finished, your go." And I go in and just turn down what he'd done and decide what I was going to do on my tracks, and I'd do that and then turn mine down, and then he would go back in it, and gradually we would build up tracks that neither of us had listened to, and then we'd turn the whole damn thing up, and often it was awful. But every now and again, something would happen that was truly magical, and it could never have been done by a formal kind of writing approach. I'm jesting about it, but it really is. It's an extraordinarily exciting way of working. We're very aware, and we know how to utilize those methods a lot ourselves now, and I have done since the 70s. But it's always refreshing to go back in with Brian, because he's always developed a new set of theories about what you can do in a studio, and how arts generally relate to its society, the society where that art form is created, which makes it a really interesting interfacing situation.
It's a very spiritual way of... A spiritual dimension of the music.
Yeah, he's not a spiritual person. I mean, he'd be the first to say it. He doesn't have that kind of spiritual life. He's quite rational in quite a formalist way, actually. I'm probably the nutcase, Uh-oh. It's the sign. I'm usually shot down in flames when I suggest it's anything other than earthly. So I think between the two of us, we're sort of, you're like yin and yang, really. Dolce and Gabbana,
Are you going to be working with him again?
Laurel and Hardy.
Are you going to work with him again in the future?
Never. We're gonna start. We're working. The next part of the Outside series is called Contamination. Well, actually, what's happened is that Robert Wilson, the American director, wonderful director. I don't know if you know. Anybody know his work? Yeah, you know his work. I first saw his work in the 70s. He did a piece on stage built around Philip Glass's music called Einstein on the Beach. It's just tremendous, wonderful director. and I have been commissioned to finish off outside for the what's called the Salzburg Festival, which is in Austria, for the year 2000, as a theatre musical piece. So Brian and I will be putting together the next episode of that, which is called Contamination, over this next while, and I think the third and last part will take place in 99, and the whole thing will go on stage for the first time in the year 2000. I mean, with all the characters and with the full plot lines and everything. It should be either absolute, one of it'll either be my zenith or it'll be my nadir.
Well, we hope it's the former.
A little bit of both, actually. It's always good for one.
You seem, it's in some of your songs like Time Will Crawl and Diamond Dogs, you seem to have somewhat of a grim view of the future. Has that changed at all?
Yeah, I wish I didn't, but you know, it's very strange that I'm actually, I'm a very buoyant, optimistic person. But I don't know what happens when I start the writing process. There's another side of me that I don't fully understand, that really comes through. And I guess it's, a lot of it is the fears and the, all those disquieting thoughts that one has that maybe I push to the back of my consciousness. I don't know, but what I'm writing is not necessarily what I would say, but it doesn't mean that I don't. That it's written with integrity, but it's maybe not anything that I would naturally start talking about. Not that I'm trying to hide it, but it just doesn't occur to me. But when I start writing it, something else takes over in a way, often. But I'm my conscious, like, because I really do think of the lyrical side of songwriting is often very unconscious, especially the way that I do write, because I write very much stream of consciousness. I often write my lyrics incredibly quickly, and then I'll grammatically change a few things, but often the body of what I've written will stay as I did it within. I can almost write in real time, you know, when it just comes out, and I can do it in, as long as the song takes, I can write a song in 4 or 5 minutes, and it will be more or less complete. And I don't really know where that comes from. I really don't. And it often is very little to do with what the conscious me is about.
Your
like
music.
The Laughing Gnome is a perfect example.
Whoa.
I'll never understand where that came from. Tony Newley, probably.
Well, your music often has a lot of harsh and electronic and disturbing elements to it, yet your songs always seem very human at the same time. They have a warmth about them as well.
Yeah, yes, because I think because I have very little interest in science fiction or the hardware of science fiction. I use the idea of the automated, robotic and science fiction world more or less as ciphers for what maybe we feel internally as creatures, as human beings. And I think I certainly have a sense of compassion for myself, and my family and friends, and I feel that if if that compassion can embrace some of our fears, then there's very little moral issue that I deal with in my songs. I don't have a position on morality. I don't think things are as simple as good and bad. I'm more Gnostic than that. I feel that there is room for improvement and room for a sophistication of morality that I don't fully comprehend yet. I'm not sure that we do as human beings. I think that's another level. That's also probably another radio show. Sorry, I'm going on. I could go on for hours, you know. Don't stop me talking. I'll tell everything I know.
How about another song?
He's bored rigid.
No,
He's heard all this a million times. We'll sit in the bus, and I'm saying, well, you know, there was such a great the division between the heretics and the original apostolic view of Christ was Reeves.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh.
You guys going to favor
The
us with another
burning of
selection?
the Temple of Jerusalem was done with such abruptness that nobody had a chance to recover there. Gail's thrown herself off the bus. The driver's drunk. And I'm sitting in the back talking to myself.
Or Mike.
Or Mike Garson. Mike Garson is the only other guy that would join me on these things.
I think you've made an impression, though. Somewhere.
Oh, lordy lord.
It'll come out on the next album,
I must
maybe.
be exhausted. What?
It'll come out on the next
But
album.
that's the thing, it does. It just, all this stuff, you know, it does. You can't help, however much I think an artist tries to hide, he can't. Every piece of work, whether it's a painting or a song, however much you feel you're hiding your tracks, I think a whole lot of what you're about is on. They're all snapshots of how you're thinking at that particular time. You can't help, you know, nobody's that tricky that they can really hide it.
No, I think you have to put that out in a song. Otherwise, it comes out as disingenuous.
I think somebody even like Warhol, you know, I think that in his terrible insecurity and his lack of wanting people to know how he felt or what he really thought about things, that he tried to hide himself by creating what he felt was extremely superficial pieces of work with artistic merit. In fact, was saying an awful lot about himself by doing that very thing. I think we often, that's what makes us so lovable, isn't it? Is that we give so much away.
Are you going to give up another song for us?
That was going to be my suggestion.
God, we're going to tell all these jokes, weren't we? Yeah, we had all these jokes, and look, it's a little girl coming and says, "Shut him up." Or if he's going to keep on talking, make him do it to music.
It's more politic
We
than
do a
that.
spoken word thing. You know.
What? A spoken word thing, yeah. I believe every drop of rain that falls. Sorry. Just for that, I'm going to play a Tin Machine song. I can't read, I can't write down. I don't know a book from Countdown. I don't know which shadow gets me. All I've got is someone's face. Money goes to money heaven. Bodies go to body hell. I just sit and catch the chase. Switch the channels, watch the police cars. I can't reach it anymore. I just sit back and ignore. Oh, I just can't get it right. I just can't get it right. I can't reach it. I can't reach it. When you see a famous smile, wherever you are, you run your mile. To be right in that photograph, where's my 15 minutes? I can't reach it anymore. I just sit back and ignore. Just can't get it right. I just can't get it right. I can't reach it. I can't reach it. Thank you.
David Bowie.
Hear that, Hunt and Tony?
The XRT private performance. Thanks so much for coming down and doing this with us.
It's really been our pleasure.
It was great. And Knock 'em Dead tomorrow night at the Aragon.
Thanks.
Yeah.
When are we going on air?
What time? Tomorrow?
No, now. I mean, when did we start the show? Now.
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think we could duplicate what just happened again.
Well, it's great to be here. We're doing a whole lot of big hits tomorrow night at the show, so I hope you'll
It's sort of a goldfish variation.
Changes life almost a lot. We're going to give you every damn thing. Great costumes. What do you want us to sing right now? Good night, everyone.